Could your favorite guitar be objectively bad? Take, for example, one of my favorite guitars of all time, the Fender Telecaster. It might be yours too. But by all modern engineering standards, this thing is kinda terrible, right? So we've got 6 strings and only 3 saddles that are basically just made out of threaded rod. So you can't perfectly, quote unquote, can't intonate perfectly the 6 strings individually, right? The neck construction is pretty rudimentary when it really comes down to it. The tuners there's way better tuners these days as far as ratios and etc. Some folks would say that there are better body neck construction methods. I sort of disagree. I think they're kind of cool. But there's no contours. It's just a slab of wood. You know, single coils are noisy. We've invented humbuckers by now. You know, there's all these kinds of things that are like, by all rights, this guitar is just kind of terrible. And this isn't the only one. Some of our most beloved guitars are just not designed very well because they were the first of their kind. But does that mean that we like them any less? I don't think so. I love this guitar. When a new guitar comes out and we see a review, what are the kind of things that people think about? First of all, does it intonate? Well, this one doesn't do that very well. Is it balanced? No, not really. Is it ergonomic? Not really. Like all those things that we normally use as metrics for a new guitar, somehow we skip over it with old designs. When you start to look at this guitar, it sort of just ignores, or it didn't ignore maybe because it was first, but it hadn't, by the time we come up with those standards, resolved all of those issues. Now, there are ways to resolve a lot of those issues now, right? So why do we still like the old thing? I guess my question is there really a problem to be solved? Now, I know many of you would say, yeah, I want it to intonate perfectly, so I'm going to swap it out to a 6-saddle bridge. I'm going to change the nut. I'm going to put higher ratio locking tuners on it. I'm going to do more modern things because that's what I want. Or is the fact that it's kind of terrible the charm? Is the fact that it's not perfect in its design? Everybody's going to say, well, Leo Fender got it right the first time, but he didn't, actually. He didn't. This is bad right here. You know, some people say it is, some people say it isn't. But engineering-wise, it's not good, right? Engineering-wise, it's not good, but it doesn't matter. Why do we like it? I don't know. You tell me in the comments. I'm curious. This kind of gets personal for me. This is my favorite guitar of all time. This is a Les Paul Jr., the TV model, and you know, this was really a super basic design when it came out. The neck actually is sort of fat and got a weird kind of, there's much better neck profiles now than there were. Obviously we have scarf joints and other necks that people have decided are better. We actually have better tuners for sure. We only have one pickup. And a lot of people, you know, they say, well, you got to have two pickups because this just doesn't make sense. This was just done because it was cheaper. And then, of course, we have to talk about this bridge because there is no adjustment, really. Well, you can move the whole bridge back and forth and move it around, but you cannot even adjust any of the strings individually for intonation, which seems kind of terrible, right? On top of it, this particular guitar is a custom shop guitar, and it's kind of expensive for what it is because it's just super simple and not that great. But there is nothing like this. I mean, think about it. In 2026, unless you're buying like a high-end Porsche 911, you're probably not used to hearing saying, we're going to give you less stuff on the guitar. We're going to give you one less pickup. We're going to give you a bridge that's not adjustable. We're going to give you really tiny frets. We're going to give you an old-fashioned neck profile. We're going to give you tuners that function, but there's way better ones out there. And we're going to give you a peg head that allegedly just breaks off when you just look at it wrong, although mine doesn't seem to. But I'm just saying that nowadays people would, if this came out as a brand new design, never been seen before, from an engineering perspective and from how picky people are about reviewing guitars and seeing guitar reviews and features and for the money and that kind of stuff, nobody would sign off on this design. It's kind of wild actually. I love it, but it's kind of wild. So, Gibson's like, you know what? We have an idea. Maybe Les Paul had this idea. He was supposed to be the smartest guitar guy ever at that point. Him and, you know, Leo Fender for different reasons. They're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take a heavy guitar, we're going to make it lighter, and then we're going to make it to where the peg head dives. And we're going to take that same terrible design and make it into an SG. And we're going to make the neck joint arguably flimsier. And we're going to, you know, like it's just wild. And this is one of my favorite guitars of all time. This is one of the guitars that I have kept the longest, actually. I've had this since 2019 or something. I really love this guitar. This was an evolution of that. To be honest with you, it's kind of worse than that. It's lighter, but that's the only thing that it really has that one doesn't have. That one's better, really. This pickup is better because this is my pickup. But, you know, it's just interesting. So now, let's design, if all of these things are so bad, are they really? Like, let's design the perfect instrument together. Get in the comments right now. I made a list of stuff that I think that we should fix from all of these vintage designs that are, you know, and I'm not advertising a guitar here, by the way. I'm not advertising a guitar here. This is just for conversation purposes, okay? So, first of all, it should be lightweight. This is pretty light. It should have perfect balance. This doesn't have perfect balance. It should have a contoured body that's kind of comfortable, right? So this is my list so far. Sculpted heel, you know, you should be able to get up all the way right here. It doesn't really apply on this guitar, but you know what I'm talking about on most other guitars. People really have a thing, I don't care about it so much, but with especially the Gibson stuff, people really have a thing about straight string pull, right? So making sure that the friction in the nut is in such a situation where you can actually play the guitar without it going out of tune, and you don't break strings and that kind of stuff. We obviously should have individual, adjustable saddles so we can set our intonation up right. People really love locking tuners, so that seems to be a pretty popular thing that people choose on a modern designed guitar. Stable neck construction is really important, and not only the neck itself, but also the joint itself, right? That can kind of be a fault on a lot of older guitars. Pickup combinations. My favorite is single hum when it comes to more than one pickup, but there's lots of different ways to do that. And then, of course, having the controls on the guitar in a place where it actually works, right? So think about a Strat. It hits right here, so you gotta, you know what I mean? There's various things about ergonomic controls too. So that's my list of stuff that I just wrote down. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all that stuff, but it just seems when people talk about the perfect guitar, a lot of those things are on the list. Get in the comments right now and tell me what things are on your list for your perfect guitar, because most of these vintage designs are missing one or more, if not all, of a lot of this stuff. Why do we care? Well, because guitars are not just engineering problems, right? We're not trying to get somebody safely back from the moon, because that's real, by the way. That actually happened. The mistake would be that we're trying to make a guitar better, I think. I think better engineered doesn't always equal more desirable. Would you agree or disagree with that? Get in the comments and let me know. I know a lot of people really like simple. I like a single pickup guitar with just two knobs. I always say that somebody should have a single pickup guitar because it teaches you really how to understand how to use the volume and the tone. And, like, for example, like this. So with this broken up signal tone that we have here. So much can be done if you understand how to use the controls on the guitar. And I think having a single pickup guitar really helps with that. Having a good pickup, obviously, helps with that too. Sometimes the limitations of an instrument are the thing that make it desirable, right? Not having a neck pickup. People talk about liking Telecasters because you kind of have to fight them, right? Not everybody likes that. Some people like a really easy to play guitar, but some people like a guitar that it really likes to fight them. So it's not necessarily that the guitar should be better. This is something that I've been giving a lot of thought to. Do we need a better guitar? I don't think so. I think we need a guitar that allows us to get what we want out of the guitar. I think we need a guitar that gives us, it allows us to have a relationship with it that we enjoy, right? So it could be you don't like the pickup and you want to put one of my pickups in it? Just kidding. Or you want to, have a particular pickup combination or even a particular amp and guitar combination. It doesn't necessarily have to be the most expensive thing, doesn't have to be the best thing, but it has to be the thing that helps you get the most out of the experience. Personally, I don't want the perfect guitar design. You know why? Because it has kind of happened. I'm not saying it's happened, but think about where automotive design has gone. It gets where they all sort of look the same, like this homogeneous sort of pile of teardroppy wedge, and all the interiors are a huge screen, right? That's different from like a vintage guitar or a vintage car where there's more character and there's more stuff going on that you're just sort of excited about. And personally, now a car can, most of the time, a lot of times for a lot of people, it can just be a straight tool. But I think as a creative device, I feel like if you just make them all the same, it just takes the fun out of it. So I personally don't want to see the guitars become the same. This homogeneous blob of neck-shaped thing and body-shaped thing with electronics and, you know, like apps and all that kind of stuff. Here's what I think we should do. I think we should stop trying to optimize everything. Not everything needs to be optimized. Not every situation needs to be perfect. Not every tone needs to be perfect, right? Choosing stuff that pushes us to be creative is more important. So, if you change the pickup in your guitar, is it because you want a better one, or is it because you want to open up a creative outlet for yourself? If you buy a more expensive guitar, is it because you think it's better, or because it's inspiring to you to play that instrument? If you get a new amp, right, does it make you want to try stuff, or is it just because you think it's better? I don't know. Get in the comments and let me know about this. I know this is a little different video today, but I've just been thinking about it a bunch, and I've been playing these guitars, and I've been going through some of my guitars that I've got on the wall that I've not played lately, and just thinking about what makes me choose each one and pick it up. What makes me choose? In fact, we were talking on the other channel the other day about these juniors and how they're kind of terrible, but they're my favorite. Why is that? Why is my favorite guitar a bad guitar? Is your favorite guitar a bad guitar? Let me know in the comments and tell me, maybe it's not bad, it's just not perfect. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you in the next video. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, and go to DylanTalksTone. Buy some pickups for your guitar. Inspire yourself to play.